Alright, chat. I do have quite the story time for today. Let me tell you. This is the story of how I earned about $230, and then I lost it all. It was the ops? No. Surprisingly enough, it was not the ops. This was my own wrongdoing. Maybe the ops and, like, I don't know. Well, we'll get into all that. Because, backstory. This was last year. Second year of college. I want to say this was in November 2024. I'm pretty sure. So, my friend in college, we shall call him Luke. And Luke, likes money. I mean, we all do. And so, Luke comes to me and tells me about this little thing he had been doing that earned him about $230. It was like 1,500 kroner, which is about 230 USD. And he was like, "Yo, do you want to like earn 1,500 just like real quick? It'll only take like a couple hours." And I was very skeptical. I was like, really though? Cause like he had been known, he was a lovely guy, but he had been known to like, you know, get into crypto trading and, you know, things like that. So I was very, very skeptical because he was a little bit blindsided by money. Just like me, he was very, very good at getting scammed. The only difference is he wasn't usually able to see that it was a scam. So from the get-go, I was very, very skeptical. But then, as he explained to me what this was all about, I was a little bit more like, okay, that makes sense. Now, I had gotten a job at this point. I started working at the cafe. But you guys know there's a whole meme on this channel about me not paying my taxes and committing tax evasion, tax fraud. But, you know, although it's a meme and the IRS, I want to make it very, very clear that this is just a meme. Every joke, every meme has like an element of truth to it. And this all started because I started working at this cafe. And whenever you start a job here in Denmark, I want to try and explain it. I don't get half the shit myself, so I want to explain it like as best I can. But you have different cards you can choose from to like get your paychecks. And then if you choose your like free card, supposedly you pay less in taxes. So that's the optimal one to go for. We didn't know this at first. So my first month's paycheck, a shit ton of the money went to taxes. And I was like, I don't want to fucking pay taxes. Fucking narcs. So I was like, okay, I should get the free card set up. Now, I know nothing about how the fuck that this stuff works. I'm not smart. I don't have expertise in this area. So I let my dad do the work. God bless him. He's a genius at this stuff. I don't know how the fuck he does it, but he was the one who tried to like get my free card set up. And he tried to, and there was this lady who was like in charge of getting the free card set up and monitoring like which cards you should use and all that shit. And he kept like contacting her and telling her we should use my free card, and then she would set it up. Easy peasy. Shouldn't be any issue with that. Then the next month's paycheck came in. Still, a ton of it went towards taxes. And we're like, what the fuck? And this became a giant back and forth for like 4 months where my dad kept trying to contact her, even contacted the like people behind like Danish taxes and called them and was like, yo, this motherfucker don't know what the fuck she's doing. Like, she can't just set up his free card. It's not that hard. I just keep telling her to set up his free card, and she doesn't do it. And she says we have to contact the people, you know, that are in charge of taxes. So then my dad tried to contact them, and then they said, you have to contact her. She's the one in charge. We can't do anything. And so he tried to contact her again, and she's like, okay, well, it should be on the free card now. The next month, it wasn't. Then eventually, after a lot of back and forth, finally we got it to work. However, I would not be getting the money back that went towards taxes until April of this year. And that's a long fucking time to wait. So that was a lot of money that was just waiting. It was 7,000 kroner, which is like, yeah, that's 1,089 USD. That's crazy. That's crazy. And waiting till April? No, motherfucker, I need the money now. I've just started the fucking job. So I didn't have much, despite the fact that I did work this part-time job. Anyway, that's a lot just to say, because of that, I was interested in earning this extra money, despite being employed. Sorry, employed. That I shouldn't be using that word. That's offensive. I'm so sorry. And like, look, I don't understand how this shit works. But when you are working to be in charge of how the free cards and shit works, you should know how it works. Like, it's so dumb. So anyway, I didn't have much. So I asked Luke more about how does this little process work of earning this. And he explains that it's about sports betting. And I'm like, interesting. Again, you guys know I'm a professional gambler, but I had never actually dabbled into the world of sports betting. So I was like, okay, sure. But I was like, wait, so this entire process is just I have to put in money on the sports bets and then just hope I win, and then if I lose, I just lose the money. Isn't this just regular sports betting? And then some guy's just gonna guide me and I just have to trust him? And he was like, no. You're not using your own money to play. That was where I was like, wait, what? He explained, no. This guy that I'm gonna hook you up with, we'll call him Jacob. He's gonna send you 10,000 kroner, which is about 1,500 US dollars. And I was like, wait, what? He's gonna send me that money? And he's like, yeah. And then you're gonna place the bets, and he's obviously gonna earn back most of it, but then you will get a percentage of it. You will get $230. Now, he does make you sign a contract to make sure that, like, because obviously you're being sent a fuck ton of money, and obviously a lot of people, you know, look, I'm a fucking scammer. I wouldn't do this, but you guys know I'm kind of a scammer sometimes. Look, there are scammers out there who could just take that money and run with it. So you do have to sign a contract saying that you are not going to run with this money, and if you do, they will report you. Sounds a bit like a pyramid scheme or some shit, because you could also earn extra money if you, like, get someone else to do this process. But I was like, sure, anything for some extra cash. And I mean, it's not my money I'm playing with. It's like the worst that can happen is he loses it all and I get nothing, but it's not my money, so who cares, you know? He hooks me up with this guy. We start the process. Nothing too sketchy so far. I start getting in talks with Jacob. We text a bit back and forth, and what he tells me to do is to sign up on different betting sites. And he gives me an email and a password to do this with. And then I just have to sign up to, I think it was like 15 different sports betting sites. I just had to sign up. Now, the reason why he gave me a new email and password for that email is because if I use my own email, then I would get, like, you know, newsletters and spam emails and shit like that. So it's like, okay, just use this email and only use it for the sports betting stuff. So I was like, makes sense. And you might be wondering, well, isn't this just like an infinite money glitch? You can just keep making new emails and then just use them to sign up, and then you can get the bonuses from those sports betting sites, and you can just keep breaking in bonuses with all your new, like, emails, and then just take that money and leave without betting anything. But here's the reason why you can't do that. It's because whenever you sign up to these sites, this is a big thing here in Denmark, is we have this app called My ID, which they use to, like, verify that it's you when you, like, log in somewhere. So even though you have your email, your username, your password, all that shit, you still have to use My ID to verify that it's you. So you can create a new email and then sign up with that, but then once you sign in with the My ID, they'll be like, this My ID isn't used for a different email. But yeah, that's the way this worked. Is he told me from the get-go, it is very, very important that anytime I sign up to these sites, I accept the bonus, because these bonuses will be like $20, $30 at times. And obviously, if you then sign up to a bunch of different betting sites and you get that many bonuses in, and then you also place bets, and preferably you win on those bets, that's a shit ton of money to win. So I sign up to all these betting sites. It takes fucking forever to sign up. This was like the boring part. You just have to sign up, accept bonuses, log in with My ID. Shit like that. All of the boring stuff. And that takes, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours. Not a great time. But I was like, sure, it's worth it. the money. And then the deal is, we have certain dates planned out where he will call me and we'll place the bets together. Or he'll tell me, all right, on this day, place this bet at this exact moment. Which goes well. There's no problems with it. There was one. He was like, hey, can you do it on Thursday at like, I don't know, it was like 7:30 p.m. And I was like, wait, I can't do that. He's like, why? Because, well, my parents are part of this like stand-up theater performance show. And I'm watching that there. And he's like, you can't like pull out your phone in secret or like do it in the break. I was like, okay, I'll try and see if I can do it like during the break. I'll try and see. I don't want to be rude and pull out my phone and just be a antisocial piece of shit. But what you don't do for a buddy, you know, I just say, this is just work. This is part of my job. I had to do this now. And the way this performance worked is you first arrive, and then there's a bunch of tables placed where you have to eat food, and then the performance starts. And then the way it works is, this is all part of the performance, this is all planned out, is one of the people, my mother actually, stands up, yells, and causes a scene, so everyone's thinking, what the fuck's happening? And then that is like the segue into the performance, and then they go up on stage, and that's when it starts. Pretty genius. Pretty five-head, if I say so myself. I'm sitting at a table with a bunch of old people, and look, I'm a streamer. I have brain rot. I don't know how to interact with real-world people, especially not old people who don't even know what YouTube and Twitch is. So they all tried to talk to me and get to know me. I just didn't understand shit they were saying, and they probably didn't understand shit that I was saying either. So I would get anxious every time the performance stopped, because I'd be like, oh fuck, I have to talk to these people. So I was actually glad that I had to pull up my phone. I felt like an asshole. I felt like a douche that I had to pull out my phone and place a fucking bet on a sports betting app while these old people were just talking to each other. But I was like, okay, at least I get to escape. I get to escape. And they don't understand shit about what sports betting is. If they even try to ask, I'll just lie. I'll just lie about what it is, you know? Or I could just tell the truth and they'd be like, I'm sorry, what? So you placed a sports bet because you were bored? No, because I had to. We had certain time frames where you had to place the bets. And that was one of the time frames. Where he asked me, can you like maybe do it during the break or something? And I was like, okay, I'll try. So as I'm sitting with the table, at the table with all these old people, I had to pull up my phone and place the bet real quick. But I did it. It was successful. And although Luke promised me this would only take 2 hours for me to earn the money, this ended up taking, I don't know, 3 weeks, probably. So I was just ready to be done with it at this point. I was like, okay, it's gonna be nice to have the hundos of dollars. And then, as we're finally nearing the end, and during this point in time, my card had expired, and I got a new card, which I didn't think was gonna be a problem for this whole process, because the promise was that it would only take like 2 hours, and it ended up taking a few weeks. So I was like, shit, the card that I've used to, like, cash in on these betting sites is now expired. How the fuck am I going to get it over to the new card? And I was a little bit worried about that. But I was like, Jacob probably has it sorted. But I think nothing more of it, and we get to the point where, you know, we have to go to the betting sites and we have to cash out and things like that. And during this process, that's when my card expires. And I think, well, hopefully it's not going to be a big deal. I just won't say shit. I'm not a narc. And then eventually he texts me one day as we're doing like the cash out process. And he's like, hey, did you get a new card? And I'm like, oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. He knows. He knows. And this is going to be problematic, isn't it? And I said, yep, I did. My old card expired during the process. I'm really sorry. I didn't think it was going to do that because I didn't think it would take this long. Is it going to be problematic that I got a new card? And he was like, yeah, sadly it is. So that ended up extending the payout a little bit because we had to go through like email support troubles and shit like that. And luckily, in the end, everything worked out, and I got it, paid out to my new card, so that everything was all good there. And then, I got all of the money that we had won, and I was just asked to send out like the amount that he needed. So I did that, and then he was like, well, the remaining 230 is yours. Thank you for doing this with me. And I was like, yep, been a pleasure. And look, was it worth it? I mean, no. Because here's the thing. Up until this point, I've only talked about how I've been earning the money, right? But the title says I also lost it all. How does that happen? The process was done. How did I end up losing it all? Did I just spend it? No, here's what I did. As the 5-head that I am. I thought, okay, I'm desperate to earn some money because I need it for a trip that's coming up to London in February. Maybe I could double this. Look, I'm a pro at blackjack. What if I put all these 230 on a blackjack hand? So I did. And I lost. I lost fucking everything, and this was all for nothing. Like the dumbass that I am, I thought to myself, I'll be different. I'll win this. I will double the money. But, it worked out because then I started doing some blackjack streams, and you guys know, in January, I did one where I won an insane amount of money. And then I lost it all on the next blackjack stream. However, this Jacob guy did, on his own, like, volition, contact me later on, being like, hey, do you want to earn another, I think it was $200. This time, it will legitimately take 5 minutes. And I was like, okay, sure. Sure. And he tells me, okay, all you have to do is you have to log in on the Bet365 app. I think it was that one. It was one of the betting apps. I don't know. There was so many of them. But the only thing was that he was like, okay, you have to promise me you just can't use your Bet365 app anymore. You just can't use it. I was like, okay, sure. I'm not going to use it. I have other apps that I use. I'm not really a sports betting guy anyway. I'm a blackjack and poker guy. So sure. So he's like, okay, just log in. And then I just placed this one bet. And then we won that. And I got the money transferred over. It legitimately took 5 minutes. And he was like, all right, thank you. Bye. And I was like, okay. Okay. I mean, sure. And then I was like, okay, these were earned in 5 minutes. I don't care if I lose it all. Last time it was a bummer because it took so much time. But this time around, if I lose them all, I don't care. So I'm going to put him on a blackjack hand again. And this time, I won. And I have kept that $400 in my bank account ever since. So, in the end, it all worked out. But, I did still earn $230 in about 3 weeks. And then lost them all in a matter of 2 seconds. But I earned them back, so who cares? So moral of the story is, chat, just don't gamble unless you win. In which case, do gamble. I don't give a fuck.